You've been going to Rampage forever now. How many years?
I think we're pushing 25 years or something.
Wow.
First one was in 2001. That was the first Rampage, and that was my first one as well. I was 14 and somehow got into it, with the help of my dad and the better judgment of Todd Barber, which is the promoter. And he's like, I don't know. And my dad was said, just let him try.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it went on from there. So it's been over 20 years, but this year would be the 19th. So I've done 18 of them, which is all of them.
And how does a 14-year-old get invited to Rampage, or how did it work back then?
It was pretty open in those early years. It was still invite only, but that year it had won the Sea Otter Jump Comp at just before I was 14 at 13, and so that one kind of gave me a little bit of notoriety, but kind of just pushed to get in there. And I think it was so open and new that they weren't really sure. I mean, there was a mixture of riders in that 2001 Rampage that was, from World Cup racers to Canadian freeride dudes that, mostly from BC that rode North Shore to, random dirt jump kids like myself. And so it was a pretty odd mixture, but like a really cool mixture. There was East Coast downhill racers, So yeah, it was a pretty big, vast type of rider that was at those first ones.
Yeah, it's a very different event back then.
Totally, yeah, and the same idea still stands to this day. It's evolved, and luckily I've been able to, evolve as much as I can with the event itself, along with trying to push myself and hopefully the sport as well.
So you mentioned Rampage changed quite a bit from then to now. What are the biggest differences?
Honestly, the biggest difference between those first early years, even up until like 2014, 15, somewhere in there, was the added portion of water, right? So for the longest time, we didn't use any water. We used there was 2004, it rained the day before, and then we were able to stack up like our first landings. That was the first idea that the first increment of being able to actually stack that dirt and make some sort of shape out of it, because
otherwise it just wouldn't hold together.
Otherwise, yeah, it just falls apart. I mean, it's desert, right? So we didn't think we could do it, and then from then on, we would just hike water up and down. And so once they brought water in for us, even though we still had to hike it for a couple more years, by the time we got water to the top of Rampage to feed it down to every individual line, that was like the most amazing thing for Rampage. It allowed us to build those gigantic landings. It allowed us to shape, a crazy feature middle of the mountain. I think that's one of the biggest things that's helped evolve Rampage.
Awesome. Yeah, basically would have taken it from a very free-ridey, riding down cliffs, gnarly lines event to more of a slopestyle event now.
Roughly, yeah. So there's a couple parts to it, right? So it's each individual rider, right, comes from different backgrounds, whether they're free-ride or free race, slopestyle directly. So it depends on how that rider sees the mountain and wants to portray their riding style. So I mean, you could take someone like myself, and I'm going to use all that water just to make a gigantic landing to do the biggest drop or whatever possible there. And other riders might go towards their strong suit of being a tech rider and doing jibs down a portion of the hill or whatever and making it smooth so they can half cab or something, So it just depends, right? It's however your mind sees it, which is really cool. And I've always been happy to be part of the event and portray how I see those lines out there.
Love it. Yeah, very cool. So over the years, you competed in multiple Rampages, but you won a couple. Maybe walk me through how those went and why those were different.
Yeah, I won two Rampages. Yeah, I won 2 Rampages over those couple of years, and over 18 of them so far. They are really far apart in between the wins. It took me 4 years to win it the first time, and then I think it was a decade after that, it was 9 years after that I won my second one. And then since then, so the last one I'd won was 2013. And I've definitely tried to win multiple times since then. There, a couple times thought you were doing it. Well, I feel like I don't want to show up. Like, there's no point in being there if you're not trying to win.
Right.
So that's my goal every time. no matter what. So it's taken me a long time to get my third one, and there was a couple times I thought it might be happening, but I mean, it's awesome to be able to say I've been part of the event for that long, won it multiple times, and helped evolve the event itself.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think you were involved with pushing the organization to change things, to improve things? How did that go?
Very much so. Yeah. I would say after my win in 13, I was kind of one of the leaders to head up of the frustrations you go through as an athlete for Rampage, right? Like,
Did you guys all get together and like unionize, or how did that
yeah,
go?
pretty much.
Okay.
That was quite a few years ago now. But yeah, we kind of got together as athletes and decided like, hey, you could be on a winning run and go down and be like, all right, well, sorry, you got 15th, and you would be in the hole budget wise.
Oh yeah.
And you'd be $5,000-6,000 down, but you're like, oh well, the contest goes on, they get all their footage, the event goes on, all that, and you're like, man, this sucks. And so we kind of brought up an idea of what would help us to be there, because then everyone wins. Also, those years, like 2014, a lot of riders went down. That was the year that the event got pushed earlier one day, and so everyone panicked. Didn't have their lines done. Didn't have enough practice. Were super smoked from building, and so then we thought of a rest day, right? So nowadays, the last 5 or 6 years or something like that, we've had site check, 4 build days, a rest day, 4 build days, and practice at the same time, and then the final event.
That's a big event. Many days. It's
we're out there for quite a while. Yeah, and you're smoked. I know for sure, truly, that every rider out there would not do this event unless they truly loved it, because it is such hard work out there.
Yeah. And were the build teams always that big, or did they grow over time? You were able to bring more people in to help you. How does that go?
Yeah, it was a bit of a mixture on the build teams. As in those early years, you bring out as many homies as you could. I mean, you couldn't pay them. Some riders could pay them. I mean, I remember Brandon one year had, I think it was like 2012 or something. He had like 15 guys on the hill, and we're like, how is this fair? We're like, what's happening here? And after that, they're like, okay, you get this many days. You're allowed to have 5 builders, and it went to 5 builders plus a rider, and then it finalized at 2 builders, a rider, and then those practice days we talked about.
Yeah, those little details, most spectators don't see that at all.
Yeah, and most spectators don't even know. I mean, even when they show up, all the lines are built, right? So most of the time, we are building 100% of the course we ride, right? So we're out there beforehand, we're doing their site check, and then we're building those features and that whole line within that amount of time, basically 8 days, before the event.
And when the venue gets repeated, do you often reuse lines, or are you adapting on other people's lines?
Yeah, very much so. It's very much so. It's kind of a combination. Depends on what line you're looking at. Say you really liked your line, but it didn't score well, or whatever your goal is, right? Is score better. You're like, hey, can I go work on this, or can I team up this next year, or can I found this new line? So a lot of times you can team up together, but each time a venue is reused, it gets more and more funneled into what the potential winning line was the previous year. So which in turn turns into more of a slopestyle event. And with that, I mean, it's the direction, depending on if you're using those same venues, then it automatically turns into more of a slope event.
Right.
Because
every year people can stack more and more on the jumps.
Exactly. And you can fine tune your line, but then they're like, oh, okay, maybe we'll do a bar spin here. Maybe we'll do this or whatever that is. So, I mean, for me, I've always been a massive fan of new venues, because to me, that's more along the lines of what the current, the original idea of Rampage is.
Totally. So I understand you're not doing Rampage this year.
Yeah, this would be the first year I'm not competing in Rampage.
So walk me through that choice.
Yeah, that choice is kind of wild. I knew one day that I would kind of be on the edge of it. After last year's event, was super stoked, felt really good, pushed myself once again for my 18th time, right, at Rampage. And there I heard talks of using the same venue or reusing a different venue that we'd previously been to. So as the time came to letting them know, hey, what I would like to be in the event or not. They said they'd be using the same venue as the 2016, 2017, and 2021 Rampage. And I go, yeah, no, I tried to win there 3 times already. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a sit out just because if you're not 100% into it, then there's no point in being there or taking a spot from someone, or even in your health.
Yeah, taking
right?
that risk. It's
There's no reason to take those risks. So it would be really hard for me to say no to a new venue. So hopefully one day that'll come back.
And do you think that you've sort of maxed out what you can do at that older venue, or what pushed you towards that decision?
For me, yes. Yeah, I believe that I maxed out the line potential, and realistically, I'm like, dude, I don't think I could whirly bird off one of those mega cliffs, whatever that trick may be. I'm like, I don't know, is it worth it? Mm-hmm. And even as you've seen last year with Tom's run, right? You're like, that was the sickest thing I've ever seen, and it wasn't enough for first place. So it's hard being on the athlete side, right? Sometimes you get overjudged, sometimes you get underjudged, and you gotta figure out if that is worth the squeeze.
Yeah, and it seems to vary a lot. Rampage is one of those places where it seems like there's the most sort of like upsets. It happens in Joyride too. There's a very subjective sort of criteria.
I think that's mostly because of the internet.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
So it's not actually on the ground. You don't sense that.
Yes and no. There's some discrepancy of scores, but at the same time, I mean, everyone on the internet, no matter what it is, whether it's a football game or it's UFC or a judge's call in UFC or whatever it is, the internet is always right, apparently. Yeah. So that kind of stuff always makes me laugh. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the hardest events to judge because you are comparing a lot of times apples and oranges, and then you're like, oh, there's a banana over there.
Yeah.
Or whatever it may be, line choice, right? So it is a really hard event to judge. And it's like I said, sometimes you're on the overjudged side and sometimes you're on the underjudged side. And it's I've always done contests, but I've always raced, because when you race, your time, and you're racing against the clock, against no one else. And so I've kind of always had that mixture, because over time you do enough judged events, you're for sure on the wrong side of it, quite often. And you get frustrated, you go racing, and then you're like, you know what? Been working on some tricks. I feel like, let's go to a judged event again, and you kind of forget about the past.
Right, yeah.